Today I'm going to talk about my favorite fiction, my favorite novel, Stone Junction by Jim Dodge. It's at once a Bildungsroman, if that's the right way to pronounce that word. A coming of age story about a young man named Daniel Pierce, and some spoilers for this, so I'll put a notice on it, but his mom gets killed, and the rest of the novel is him growing up and then eventually collapsing into a 10-pound spherical diamond. And that metaphor of collapsing into the diamond has become very important to most of how I understand life, I guess. There is another character named Volta who's like a father figure of sorts who becomes resentful of how powerful Daniel becomes from his ability to disappear from the external world. It's kind of like a Tolkien-esque, like he learns how to literally become invisible, kind of like Frodo with the ring or Bilbo, and he goes on this quest to get a 10-pound spherical diamond from a government agency that's been studying it. And whenever he disappears into this invisible state, he looks into the diamond and he sees I think it's a circle of flames. It's been about a year or two since I've read it. Even though I've read it like 5 times in my life, 6, 7 times, something like that. I can't even remember actually how many times I read it because I read it the first time in high school pretty intensely in one sitting, I think. And as he keeps disappearing into the diamond, this flame gets larger. But, and this is the strange part, the diamond grows with the flame, and he slowly eventually just disappears into it, and it says he becomes Loki, Hermes, or the god of tricksters, and it's kind of a psychedelic end. That alchemical potboiler tagline is justified, I feel. What exactly happens is irrelevant. The diamond can be a metaphor for anything, for faith, for lack of faith. I mean, it's literally, for me, the diamond is literally anything that you hold up as value and how value consumes your life until there's literally nothing but the thing you pursue. I think there's a quote that I may be paraphrasing that says, "Potential tends to narrow as it deepens," which is directly from the book, or one of his poems at least, but I think it's from Stone Junction. And in a lot of ways, potential is the diamond. I don't know. If you're an artist, maybe your pursuit of your art is the diamond. It overrides your life. You become obsessed with it. And collapsing into it is a type of death, but we go through a literal death whether we pursue anything greater than ourselves, like God, God's a good example. The closer you get to understanding the Lord, then the more unnecessary it feels we are. And in the treetops, souls are string. That's a quote from one of my own songs, which is a bit bullshitty, but I'll use it. It's just the idea that any sense of self, the higher you go in understanding, gets in the way. The idea that you have anything to offer is a limiting factor. And the only way to understand these higher concepts is to collapse into a state of glorious self-destruction that is so glorious and vital that we can't fathom it, really. I mean, as a Christian, in a lot of ways, there's the central metaphor of it is you bear your cross, you carry your cross. In the story of Stone Junction, Daniel's cross is the diamond. He bears it, collapses into it, and he comes out the other end. Whether it's literal or not, if he was actually a god Hermes or whatever, or if he just disappeared into his potential, whatever that means, it's a brilliant book. People who review it, I think, don't get it because it attracts two contradictory readers. One is the pot boiler, like Shibumi is a book sitting in front of me that I think if you like Stone Junction, you potentially could like. Gravity's Rainbow is another one. They're two ends of the spectrum, though. One is a kind of pot boiler with some deeper inclinations that are comic bookish, and the other one is Gravity's Rainbow, which is like the closest thing to schizophrenia ever documented in literary ambitious fiction, I guess, or something like. It's encyclopedic. It's, everyone knows a little bit about Gravity's Rainbow, but all you really need to take away from it is its own diamond. Gravity's Rainbow is a diamond, and you could waste away collapsing into that book trying to dissect it and come away with nothing more than what you put into it. Stone Junction is not that. Stone Junction is structured for ease to the reader. It is structured in such a way that when you read it, you can apply the commentary to whatever it is that you're intrigued by in life, be it a record, like being a musician, being a painter, any of these things. You can take it in a line-to-line lesson. There's a lot of aphorisms. And in a strange way, I mean, I'm thinking of Wild Bill's episode early in the book, the one that Volta sends Daniel to learn from him. And when he graduates from Wild Bill's lesson, he gives Daniel a little gold turtle, I think, with diamonds on it. And Daniel wraps it around his finger and then casts it into a lake. And that's a microcosm of the contradictions of aspiring to greatness, of wanting to be worthy of bearing your cross. I mean, that's all it really comes down to. I mean, if you really fulfill your potential in a lot of ways, you burn the candle at both ends. And by the grace of God, maybe it's allowed to survive beyond that. Peace and love. I'm off.